Hey YouTube, Kiro Twig here, bringing you all an update to my Altergeist Yugioh deck profile for November 2023. I never actually got around to updating Altergeist when Duelist Nexus was released. It was one of the decks that was overlooked at the time. I just didn't have all the cards for the Altergeist deck, but finally picked up the core today from a friend of mine at Locals. It's actually a pretty budget-friendly deck to build, focusing on being able to go into the many different Altergeist monsters. We had the new Altergeist Adminia as well from the set, but we also had a new trap card and two new main deck monsters as well, and then being able to make use with some interesting plays in the extra deck as well, utilizing the fact that we have a new Altergeist tuner as well to go into some synchro plays. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So we'll go ahead and start off with the main deck. The main deck consists mostly of monsters and traps. That's the playstyle that Altergeist go for. So for the monsters, we're running 3 copies of Altergeist Multi-Faker. If you activate a trap card, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand. And if this card is special summoned, you can special summon one Altergeist monster from your deck in defense position, except for Altergeist Multi-Faker. And you cannot special summon monsters the turn you activate this effect, except for Altergeist monsters. You can only use each effect of Multi-Faker once per turn, but you have the special summon option, just being able to summon out Multi-Faker onto the field and then grab any of the particular Altergeist monsters you need for this card as well. So it's great setup, just being able to activate a trap, which we run plenty of in the deck as well. We're also running 3 copies of Altergeist Meluseek. With this one, it can attack directly, and when it inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can target one card your opponent controls and send it to the graveyard. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add one Altergeist monster from your deck to your hand, except for Meluseek. So another way to search out cards like Multi-Faker, and then also just having to be sent from the field to the graveyard, you can use Meluseek for a link summon of a link 1 monster to get your search for your other Altergeist monster as well. And then for the other 3 copies of Altergeist Marionette, just one of the better starters in the deck when it's normal summon. You can set one Altergeist trap directly from your deck to your spell and trapped zone. You can target one Altergeist card you control and one Altergeist monster in your graveyard. Send that card from the field to the graveyard to then special summon that other monster from your graveyard. You can only use this effect of Marionette once per turn, but being able to set an Altergeist trap gives us access to a good majority of the cards where we want to go into and set up our Altergeist Manifestation, or even go for the new Altergeist Revitalization. You have plenty of searches to use with Marionette, and then just being able to grab another Altergeist monster by targeting the Altergeist card you control, and that other one in your graveyard, sending it from the field to the graveyard to special summon it, can give us some different plays using those other Altergeist monsters we summoned back onto the field. For some of the lower numbers for the Altergeist monsters, I run 2 copies of Altergeist Silkotos. With this card, quick effect, you can return one other Altergeist card you control to the hand, then target one card your opponent controls, return it to the hand, and if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can target one Altergeist trap in your graveyard and add that target to your hand. So recycle power, but I would say this card is one of the ones that you want to summon off of Multi-Faker, just because then you'll have the 2 monsters needed, being able to return one other Altergeist card you control, to then go for that playstyle, being able to bounce your opponent's card back to their hand as well for that situation. You can summon it quite easily off of Multi-Faker. That's why we're only running the 2 copies of this card to begin with. Also 2 copies of Altergeist Pukuri. With this card, if an Altergeist monster you control will be used as link material for an Altergeist monster, this card in your hand can also be used as material. You can only use this effect of Altergeist Pukuri once per turn, and if an Altergeist link monster is link summoned to your field while this card's in your graveyard, you can add this card to your hand. You can only use this effect of Pukuri once per duel, but it's a recycle play. Being able to also just use this card from your hand means that if you have, let's say, your normal summoned Marionette on the field, you can use the Marionette and the Pukuri in your hand to then go into cards like your link to Altergeist Hextia, all the more easier, and then having an add back option as well. If an Altergeist link monster is link summoned to your field while it's in the graveyard, being able to just add that back for recycle plays, and then also for the setup of that card. It is a once per turn, so you can't use it again, but still gives you more to then do the following turn. For some of the one-ofs, and that includes our new cards in the deck, the 1 copy of Altergeist Paratrader. If this card can attack directly, you can only use each of the following effects of Paratrader once per turn. When this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can draw 1 card. If it's sent from the field to the graveyard, you can send 1 Altergeist card from your hand, deck, or face of the field to the graveyard, except for Paratrader. Getting another way to set up Pukuri to add back to your hand if you didn't open it up in your hand to use it. The 1 copy of Altergeist Malwisp. If this card is added to the hand, except by drawing it, you can special summon it. If this card card is normal or special summon, you can target one Altergeist monster in your graveyard except for Maoist and special summon it in defense. But for the rest of this turn, you cannot activate its effects. You can only use each effect of Maoist once per turn, but having Maoist be able to grab any of the other monsters we run, so you can go for your level 1 Altergeist monsters or your level 4 being your Marionetter, and then you have your synchro play using this card as well for your extra deck. And then the 1 copy of Altergeist Conqueror, so you have the added stop of your opponent's cards as well. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, if you control an Altergeist card, you can special summon this card from your hand. If you do, negate that attack, and if this card is special summoned, you can target one face-up card your opponent controls, negate its effects, and while that card and this monster are face-up on the field. So more stopping of your opponent's cards, special summoning, negating the attack, and then stopping the card effects as well. One of the better searches for it, but once again, just a one of that you need in the deck. For the rest of the main deck monsters, 3 copies of Ash Blossom and 2 copies of Drone Lockbird, just more shutdown of search power that your opponent may try to use, whether it be through when they try to add the card or on resolution so they can't add any more cards when you use Drone Lockbird. Now for these spells, we really don't run too many spells in the deck since the main focus is just all the trap cards that we run. So for these spells, 2 copies of Pot of Prosperity. Thought of running a 3rd copy of this card, but decided to stick to 2, just searching out the particular card you may need at the cost of some of the cards in your extra deck. The 2 copies of Triple Tactics Talent for whatever searches you may try to use. If your opponent stops them with one of their hand traps, you can at least take away one of their own resources or draw into some other needed cards you may use. And then also the 1 copy of Call by the Grave, just to stop any other hand traps, as I mentioned before, using this 1 spell. Moving on now to the traps, we are running 3 copies of Personal Spoofing. Once per turn, you can shuffle 1 Altergeist card from your hand or face up from your field into the main deck to add 1 Altergeist monster from your deck to your hand. So this just gives you search power. Shuffling an Altergeist card means you have plenty to work with in the deck as well with this one, and then adding an Altergeist monster. So Personal Spoofing may not have Altergeist in its name, so you can't set it up with Marionetter, but that's why we're running 3 of this, so a better chance that we'll see this card to use when you activate this trap. You can also set up the Multi-Faker that's in your hand, giving you more search and added options using this trap. Also 2 copies of Altergeist Protocol. With this one, the activation effects of Altergeist cards activated on your field cannot be negated when your opponent activates a monster effect. You can send one other face-up Altergeist card you control to the graveyard to negate the activation. If you do destroy it, you can only use each effect of Protocol once per turn, but another way to make use of the other Altergeist cards by being also able to stop your opponent's monster effects using this trap. With the other 2 of being 2 copies of Altergeist Manifestation. One of the other better ones, I would say, to grab off of Marionetter. You target 1 Altergeist monster in your graveyard, special summon it in attack position, and equip it with this card. When this card leaves the field, destroy that monster, and you can banish this card from your graveyard to target 1 Altergeist trap in your graveyard and add it to your hand, giving you more recycle power for the protocols or any of the 1-ofs that we run in the deck, which are the 1 copy of Altergeist Revitalization, the new card from the Duelist Nexus set. You target 1 Altergeist Link monster in your graveyard, special summon it, you can banish this card from your graveyard. Immediately after this effect resolves to normal summon 1 Altergeist monster. You can only use 1 Revitalization effect per turn, but only once that turn. So if you want to go for the special summon of the Link monster on your opponent's turn, then use the banish on your own to gain an additional normal summon. You have that added option here, with the last of the Altergeist traps being the 1 Altergeist Haunted Rock. If it was set by the effect of an Altergeist card, you can activate the turn with set, so setting it with Marionetter will give you that additional activation. When it's activated, send 1 Altergeist monster from your hand to the graveyard, and when your opponent activates a trap card, except during the damage step, you can send 1 Altergeist monster from your hand to the graveyard to negate that effect. More negate activation for the option when your opponent activates a trap card to stop those cards. It's just a 1-of because it's more of a specific situation than Protocol is. With the last of the traps being my personal check, being Lost Wind. You can have Torrential Tribute, Compulsory Evacuation Device, whatever you think for this spot. I just like this trap because then it's reusable from the graveyard as well. And also the 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Another great one just because if you activate this during your opponent's turn and you activate from the hand, since you control no cards, you can then chain the Multi-Faker and then start off all your Altergeist search plays before you even took your own turn. Moving on now to the extra deck, I run 3 copies of Altergeist Hextia. Probably one of the best Link 2s to go into. It gives you the power boost when it points to another Altergeist, and then also having the easy Link 2 option, being able to tribute an Altergeist monster to negate the activation and destroy a card, and then having more search power for that Altergeist card from your deck to your hand with this card as well. 3 of, just like I said, an easy Link 2 with cards like Pukari, or just when you can set your 2 monsters up on the field with Multi-Faker. The 1 copy of Altergeist Prime Banshee. 3, and the new Altergeist Adminia, needing 2 or more Altergeist monsters to make this card as well. And when it's link summoned, you can set 1 Altergeist trap directly from your deck, more search power on top of the Marionetter as well. And once while this card's face up on the field during the main phase, quick effect, you can send 1 card you control the graveyard to target an effect monster your opponent controls and take control of that monster. If you do, it's also treated as an Altergeist monster. So then more cost cards for you to send, since that is an Altergeist monster face up on the field. For more of the generic link monsters, the 1 Relinquished Anima and the 1 Link Karibo with all the level 1 monsters we run, 1 SP Little Knight, more banish power as well with all the different link monsters we can use to make this card as well, 1 Cross Sheep, and also 1 Nightmare Phoenix, with also the last of the link monsters being 1 copy of IP Masquerena, 1 Nightmare Unicorn, and the 1 Apollosa, with our synchro monsters that we're running with the new monster, which, like I said, the new Altergeist Maoist being able to do special summon back level 1 or even our level 4 options gives us plays for us to summon out cards like Arcanite Magician, which needs a non-tuner spellcaster, which the Altergeists are spellcasters, and the 1 Herald of the Arclight as just another effect negation on the field, needing just the level 3 and the level 1 monster to do so. And then as for some of the go-to plays in the deck, as I said before, when you activate that trap card in your hand and can resolve things like Multi-Faker as well, you then have the search power and setup for any particular play you need. You have the bounce setup with your Silquities from your deck. You can grab one of the newer monsters, which will then give you the added option if you go for either the Paratrader with this card as well, being able to attack directly on the following turn, then being able to draw a card, and if it's sent from the field to the graveyard, to send an Altergeist card from your hand, deck, or face up on the field to the graveyard. So then that could be done with the Link 2 using the Multi-Faker. If you go for the Maoist play, you normally want to go for Maoist of the special summon of Multi-Faker when you have another card in your graveyard to grab off of that one also. And then being able to go for those synchro plays, as I mentioned before, but also being able just to have your normal summon for cards like your Marionetter, setting up your Haunted Rock for more of the effect negation, or even setting up cards like your Revitalization as more of a special summon for when you go for your Link 2 plays. If you were to have the Puka in your hand, that Link 2 play can be achieved with your summon from the hand, just having the 1 monster as well to then use on the field. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. Like I said, it's been a while since we had the new support for Altergeist, but I never actually got around to it because I just didn't have the cards. Finally picked them up and wanted to update you all with my take on the deck. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.